Hello and welcome to Friday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we have got a very unusual puzzle to have a look at today. It's called Japanese Minesweeper Beginner, and it's by rdrd, which apparently is a pseudonym of another name I'm going to struggle to pronounce, which is cyddrd. Sidud? I don't know. Anyway, this is their puzzle, and apparently the testers say this is a very interesting thing indeed. It's basically Minesweeper, if you know the old Windows computer game. And we have to put 10 mines in the grid. And then I think these clues outside the grid, which I can click on today, are some sort of Japanese sums clues. So don't worry if you don't know what they are. Hopefully the rules will explain it to us all. But the testers thought this was an incredibly clever puzzle, and they said, do not worry about it being called beginner. It's quite hard enough. It's quite hard enough. And actually, I've already had to do battle today with, well, it wasn't even that difficult a Times crossword. But oh my goodness me, what happened at the end was just hideous. I can't even I can hardly bring myself to think about it. If you want to watch me utterly humbled, watch the last few minutes of the crossword video. The crossword was by an old friend of mine, John Grimshaw, who is definitely one of the cleverest men in England, and he will have been chuckling away. What happened to me? Anyway, I'll try and remember to put a link on the screen in case any of you are interested in cryptic crosswords or just Simon humbling videos. What else can I tell you about before we do the rules for Japanese Minesweeper, though? Let me just have a quick look. Happy Good Friday to you all, by the way. Oh, yeah, many things. Blueprints. We have scheduled a stream for Monday evening at 10 p.m. UK time. 39th time we'll have gone back in the Blueprints mansion, so we can both make it despite the holidays. So look out for that. I'll try and remember to put a link to that on the screen. Now, over on Patreon, on the 1st of April, we launched a brand new competition. Sandra and Nala's Bug Hunt. Bug Friends is the official name of this. And this was the state of play as of yesterday. Let's do a quick refresh. We had 111 solvers of all 8 puzzles as of yesterday. And now we are at... What? That is 264. Nearly 1,300 solvers of the first puzzle. I mean, that is incredible. Goodness me. Yeah, I mean, it's perhaps indicative of the fact that the puzzles are, well, there are only eight. It's still plenty, but it is achievable to anybody who gets involved. So do have a go. You'll have a lot of fun. There's not only Fog of War puzzles. There's Hayawaki in there. There's Nurikabe. So you will have a blast. And goodness me, those numbers are really, really terrific. It's over on Patreon right now. What else? Oh, I'm going to mention Marty's merchandise. You have been loving this. Have I got it? Can you see that on the screen? Yay! There you go. This is Marty's designed some merchandise to go with his Rat Run puzzles, and it is. I mean, it's so good. It is just so good. So if you've been enjoying that series, and who hasn't over the years, you might like to have a look at that as well. I think that's all. Oh no! Birthdays. Let me look at my list of birthdays. I've got 3 birthdays to do today. Isa, it's your birthday today. I know this because your husband Vern wrote to me, and he was very keen to stress that you tell everybody about Cracking the Cryptic, and including him, I think. So Isa, I am so grateful that you're spreading the word about this wonderful, wonderful hobby that we all share. I hope you have a fantastic birthday today. Many happy returns. I hope the chocolate cake is very well iced, obviously. Somebody who's not having chocolate cake today, somebody who's having strawberry cake, is Lee. Lee's turning 16. And mitigates the fact that it's strawberry rather than chocolate cake by telling me that it's going to be very heavily iced strawberry cake. Is that strawberry icing? Is that what you have on strawberry cake? I mean, I'm so ignorant about strawberry cake, I don't really know. But Lee, I do hope you have a brilliant birthday. And I hope the strawberry cake is, well, through gritted teeth, I'll hope it's up to snuff. Ryan, it's your birthday today, and I know this because your girlfriend, is it Mana? Is that how I should say that? It could be Mana. Your girlfriend Mana wrote to me, or Mana. I don't know, now my own brain doesn't know. And told me that I think the two of you have both been watching for a couple of years, so thank you both for watching. And Mana, I don't know, tells me, Ryan, that you've made every part of her life and her kids' lives better. So that is a lovely sentiment indeed, isn't it? And Ryan, I hope you have an absolutely brilliant birthday today. Many happy returns. I hope the chocolate cake is good, obviously. I think that's all the news. Shall we have a go at Japanese Minesweeper beginner? I don't think this is a Sudoku. Although you do get Japanese sum Sudoku, I don't think this is one of those. Anyway, let's read the rules and see if we can understand what's going on. The first rule says, Minesweeper. There are 10 mines in the grid. Every clued cell, i.e. a non-mine cell that is orthogonally or diagonally adjacent to at least one mine, contains a digit equal to the number of adjacent mines. Cells not adjacent to any mine are left empty. So, if this cell is a 5, then in those 8 cells surrounding the 5, there would be 5 mines. That is what that means, I think. It's normal Minesweeper rules, is basically. I think that's just what that's saying. It's like normal Minesweeper rules apply. Now, what else? So Japanese sums. Clues outside the grid represent the sum of digits in each contiguous sequence of clued cells in the order of appearance from left to right or top to bottom. So if we look at this thing, that is saying that there's some digits in the row that sum to 4, and then there's a gap, is there? How's the gap? Hang on, oh, Maverick's about to fly over as well. Let me just read this. Consecutive sequences must be separated by at least one mine cell or one empty cell. A question mark represents any digit from 0 to 9. Oh, goodness, that's a very low-flying Maverick today. My goodness, doesn't sound like a very healthy plane, actually. And for a double-digit number, its first digit cannot be 0. So, in this row, there are some numbers. Let's say there's some numbers, 2s. And then there would be a gap. Now, the gap could be a mine, is what it's saying. Or it could just be... Oh, yes, I do see. So imagine those 2 were mines. And that would account for this being a 2. And then this cell could be effectively a 0. It could have no mines around it. And then if that cell was a 1, because, we couldn't put the 1 there because that would affect the 0. Gosh, it's complicated, this, actually. Let's put a 1 there. Yeah, then it would be difficult. Well, it would be possible for this to be a 0. So that could be a mine. Oh, but that would make that a 2. Oh, hang on, I'll move that mine. I'm very, very confused by this. And then that could be a 1. And then it doesn't matter what that is, because we've fulfilled the clues. We've got a 4, which is that, providing those are zeros or mines. a gap or a mine, then a 1, then a gap or a mine, then another string of numbers. That's quite complicated. Oh, well, it's quite complicated, but it's the end of the rules. So it says there's for solution checking, in addition to the numbers you've entered above, enter 9 to indicate a cell with a mine, and 0 for cells with 0 adjacent mines. Okay. Okay, so but that's not relevant to the puzzle. That's just if we want to be able to check our answers correct. Okay, well, I think I sort of understand that. Sort of. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play Let's Get Cracking. Now, I say let's get cracking. I have got no clue how to start this. So there are 10 mines. And every time you put a mine in, the mine itself... Oh, yeah, that's weird. So the mine itself is useless for generating the... Well, it's not useless for generating the clues, but it doesn't in and of itself give rise to numbers, does it? So putting a mine here is worth 0 from the point of view of the clues, but it will generate numbers around it. Because, yeah, hang on. So if that's a mine, it's quite funny actually that this grid resolves with just 3 4s as the clue. And some question marks, of course. So if you put a 4, no, not a 4, if you put a mine there, what is that doing? That's going to turn all of those, well, in and of itself, it doesn't, yeah, okay, here's a way to think about this. So if I put a mine in, then ignoring all other mines and everything, what that would do is that would put 1s all around it, wouldn't it? That's what it would do. So it contribute 3 there. Only 1 that... Oh no. So it would contribute 3 of value to an adjacent row or column. But that's not even true, is it? That's true if it's in the middle of the grid. If it's in the middle of the grid, it does do that. But what if it goes in the corner? If you put 1 in the corner, then that's only going to, all of those would become 1s. So that would only contribute 2 to an adjacent column or row. So, but that doesn't apply in the middle of the perimeter. In the middle of the perimeter, those would all be 1s, wouldn't they? So it's only in the corners. Oh, this is complicated. So most mines will give rise to a count of 3 in adjacent rows and columns, except corner mines, which might not. And also, mines that go in a row or a column contribute 1s on both sides of them. So how do you generate a value? Because in this column, there is... Well, we don't know, do we? If there was a mine in any cell... no, in fact, that doesn't even work. No, hang on, I'm wrong. Oh, no, that one would generate 2 there. I thought it was only the corners that generate 2s, but that one generates 2. because both of those would be a 1. Ah, okay, so it's more, the perimeter is more complicated. And it depends on the orientation you're looking for the clues, because this generates 2 1s here, but 3 1s there. So it would contribute 3 to the row it's adjacent to, but only 2 to the column it's adjacent to. And a 1 in the middle of a row or column, that would contribute 3s in all of those, 3, because each one of these would be a 1 in those directions, and then it is 2 1s in those 2 positions. And when I say contribute, obviously you could have stacks of mines all close to each other, and that they're going to each have their own effect. So for example, if those 3 were all mines, then this digit would obviously be a 3 if there were no other mines in that vicinity. But that's because each mine has had that one effect on that adjacent digit, if you see what I mean. So I think in terms of the effect of a single mine, we basically know, well, it depends. It depends whether the mine is in the row or column that you're assessing or adjacent to it, and then whether it's on the perimeter or adjacent to it. So let me go back to this. So how do I actually create? You see, you can't create... Okay, here is a point. You can't put a mine in any of... Oh, that might be wrong. I don't think you can. Because if you put a mine in any of those cells, then it would break up the column and suggest that there was a number above and a number below, and would suggest that this couldn't be just a single clue. The only reason I'm pausing there is, could you have like a contiguous string of, like if you had an enormous string of mines? You probably can't have that because of these other clues. Maybe that's where I've got to look at, because that's 2 double-digit clues. Yeah, that's going to take whopping amounts of mines, isn't it? Because each one of those clues, this top clue, the minimum value of it is 10. Now 10 is going to require, I want to say, at least 4 mines. Because you could have, yeah, I mean, if that's a mine, that generates 3 in this column. So that's the maximum bang for buck you can get for a mine, is you put 1 mine in, it generates 3 of value in a column. So if I have to get this to at least 10, I need 4 mines for that first clue, and I need 4 mines for that second clue. So that's 8 mines. That's 8 of... Now I can't do it. I can't do it. Because now I've got 8 mines here that I have to have. And 4 in this column. I can't do that with 1 mine. So I need 2 mines in those cells. I need 8 mines in these cells. And then I've got a clue here. That's going to require some mines in it. So at least 1 mine here. At least 8 mines here. At least 2 mines here is 11. I've only got 10 mines to play with. So I've not done something correct. I've not understood something. There's no way you can do this with 7 mines, is there? If you had... How would you do it? You'd have to... In fact, how do you break up the sequences? Maybe that's a better question. Because if I had mines there, for example, then that's each one of these mines is giving rise to a 3 of value in those 3, then those 3, then those 3. So that would give rise to 9 in the column. And then I would need a gap. Oh, and I can So you can, yes, okay. So you can create a gap using a mine, can't you? Oh, this is confusing. I think you can do it with 7, because what you could do, just bear with me. Let me just get rid of my colours here. If you had, just for the sake of exposition, imagine you put a mine in the very centre of the puzzle. Now that effectively divides this column up. And it contributes 1 to this cell and 1 to this cell, because even if these 2 cells are not next to any other mine, they would see a mine. And then you'd only need... You still got to be really careful. It's really difficult to do this, actually, because you still need, even if this is a 1, you still need 9 more in these cells. And to get 9 more, given we definitely haven't got more than 3 mines to play with up here, because we need 3 mines down here to generate 9 of extra value on top of this 1 down here. And we can't have more than 7 mines in here, because then we know we can't fulfill this column and this column. So how do you get 3? How do you get each mine that must be in adjacent columns, because each of them needs to count for 3? How do you get them to count for 3 if this is in the middle? Because you can't put a mine here, because it would only have 2 of value. Let me try and explain that. If you put a mine there, it adds 1 to this one, 1 to this one, but this doesn't contain a number, so you don't get 3 of value from this mine. You'd have to put it there and there. They would get 3 of value. You can't put it on the perimeter, it only gets 2 of value. So you could get 3, 3, and then one of these 2 would give you another 3. So, okay, right. So what, in fact, you might have to put a mine here. You need to create at least 10 of value and a gap with only 7 mines maximum. There's no other way to do it. I'm not saying there's no other way other than having a mine here. But I do think that is the way, the broad way in which you achieve these columns is with a mine in the middle, which probably has to be in one of those 3. I mean, let's just think about it. If you put the mine here, no, you can't do it. You can't do it, because if you did put the mine anywhere but in the middle, how do you create 10 of value here? You could put a mine there and a mine there. Perfect. That's working beautifully. That's going to create 6 of value here. Each one of these sees 2 mines, so 6 of value. This actually is a 3 because it also gets 1 from this one. But I need 3 more from 1 more mine. Where am I putting that mine? To get 3 more of value in those cells. You can't, there's nowhere to put it. Those would not count this one, that one would not count this one, that one doesn't count this one because it's off the grid. So the only way to do it's really clever. It's really clever, but it's I don't find it very easy. That is a mine. That is a mine. These cells contain 3 more mines. I don't know how to I'll mark them like that. These these contain 3 mines. These contain 3 mines. Nothing else in these columns contains a mine, so we need a colour for no mine. What should we have? Lime green. I agree if that's what you were thinking. And even though we've done this, we've still got ourselves into an absolute pickle with these other columns, because this column, well, no, I'm going to go this one first, because I've used up now 7 of my 10 mines in the middle 3 columns, so I've only got 3 mines left to play with. I'm going to have to use 2 mines to generate 4 of value in this column, because 1 mine individually can only generate 3 of value no matter where you put it. So there are 2 mines in these columns, which means I've got 1 mine to play with in these columns, but that 1 mine has to divide. There has to be a gap. So if I was to put the mine here, for example, that would create 1, 1, 1 there, but it wouldn't create 2 clues. So the only way to create 2 clues is with something like this, having a mine here, so that there is effectively what there will be is a 1 above and a 1 below the mine, and that will create the 2 values for the question marks, which means there is a mine in exactly one of those cells and there is no mine in those cells. I'm not sure how to do that. Oh, there's a wasp flown in. Naughty wasp. There was one earlier as well, and the one earlier flew into my computer, which wasn't a good thing. Okay, now that's going to trouble me. Oh well, never mind. I'll try and ignore it. It's flying towards the door. Maybe it'll go in the rest of the house. Oh no, it's back over there. Go on, go out. Go out. Naughty wasp. Not even thought about the across clues yet. Okay, so how does this 4 clue? We've got 2 clues, 2 mines to use to generate exactly a clue of 4 in this column. So if you were... So we know you can get a 2 by putting 1 in the corner, can't you? Or there, perhaps. Oh, yes. Yes, that's what it'll be. If you put 1 there and 1 there, doesn't that do it? These would both be 2s. They both see a mine, and that would give me my 4, and these cells would all be empty. So is there a way of getting a clue of 4 that isn't this? Because if we know it's that and that, or that and that. Probably isn't that and that, actually, because that 4 looks like it might be broken by that. Because that would give rise to 3. That would give... No, that wouldn't work, actually. So maybe it's got to be down here. If it's that, it might have to be these 2. Because this question mark clue can be anything, providing it's a single-digit number. And I think it would be a 5. Depending on whether that's a mine or not. The only other way you could get a 4, you'd have to have a 3 and a 1 somehow, which feels... Oh no, you could create a 1. You couldn't create a 1 by having a mine in any of those. Because if you had a mine in any of those, you'd have a gap above and below it. And now we can't have anything ludicrous like this because we haven't got enough mines available. So this would be 2 clues, this column, and it's only 1 clue. But what would happen if you had a mine here? That would give rise to a 1 here, wouldn't it? And then if you had a mine there, that would give rise to 3. So that would be a 4. If that was a 0, which it would be. Ah! Haha, that's annoying. I think I've come up with another way of doing this. Bobbins. Oh, okay. So, but either, well, to do this one, you'd have to have a mine at the top or bottom of the column. So the total panoply of places in which mines could go in these columns are what exactly? So if we do have the mine at the top or the bottom of the column, giving rise to a 1, you need to add three more to that, which would mean a mine here, 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 or here. Because if that's a mine, 1, 2, 3, 4, that would work. So one option is mines in those potential positions. Sorry, let's make these. The other option, which is much more straightforward, is you just get 2 mines in these positions. But I don't think that works at the top, because this 4 clue won't work. It'll be too big, I think. But what if that was a mine? That would be oh, no, because that would be... No, it wouldn't work. Gosh, it's really complicated. But so what I was thinking of is, what if all 3 of those were mines? The problem there is this is now not a mine, but it picks up 1 from here, doesn't it? So that's a 2. This is a 2, and that is a 1. And that would be 5. So you couldn't do it. And if this wasn't a mine, then it's 3 plus 1, which is, well, it's 1, 1, 1, 1, which it does give rise to the 4. No, that's wrong. It's not 1, 1, 1, 1. No, it doesn't work, because it would be 1. It's really complicated, sorry. But if this is not a mine, it's 1, 1, 2, 1, which is 5, which doesn't work. So those are not the mines. We're either looking at a mine here and then a mine in one of those 4, or, now can I rule out double mine at the bottom here? Oh, no, I can't, because I haven't got the 4 clues on the wrong side. It's over here. Oh, bobbins. Okay, so maybe we start down here then. Because I've only got 1 mine. Oh, I don't know how to do this. I'm getting very confused. Or, okay, here's another thought. Maybe this is what we do. Maybe we abandon this altogether and try and figure out if there are cells that have to contain digits now. Because surely... yeah, look at these 4 cells. Those 4 cells definitely contain 3 mines. Then that means these 2 cells are 3s. It means these 2 cells are 3s, because no other mine interferes with those cells. This one, we don't know, because we don't know how many. Either one of those or 2 of those is a mine, so I don't know what that is. That one is a 1, isn't it? Yeah, that is a 1. Now that one isn't, or it might not be, because we don't know about these, but that is a 1. So, maybe a different question then is whether the 4 is part of that 3 or not. Now, if the 4, I know 3 of these are mines, so the only way that 3 is part of this 4 clue is if one of these is not a mine. So let's say it's this one. So let's say those 3 are mines, and we're now assessing so that's a 3. This is not a mine, so it's a 1. This is not a mine, so it's a 1, and that's a 5 string. That won't work. And the same is true on the other side. I mean, which does bear. You probably can't fit 2 more clues in anyway on the other side. But if this wasn't the mine, if we were doing this and trying to say this is part of a 4 clue, you can see that this cell is not mineable according to my pencil marks for mines in the final 3 columns. So it would go 1, 1, and 3, 1, 1 is not 4. So this is probably the middle clue, but it does mean we've got to do exactly. We've only got 1 mine. Oh, I can't do it then, can I? Oh no, I can do it. Oh, sorry. I was just thinking I've only got 1 mine to use in these 3 columns, and 1 mine doesn't give rise to a 4. It can only give rise to a 3. So somehow, yeah, how could this not be a mine then? If that's a mine and that's a mine, I'll get 4. Yeah, that's what it'll be. That will be a mine and that will be a mine. If you're not in that world, if this is not a mine, then this is, and we know that that's going to it's going to be impossible. Because this will be a 5 clue and I can't fit a 4, can't generate a 4 here. So this is definitely a mine. 100% this is a mine. And somehow we've got to arrange, because that's not giving rise to a 4 clue in and of itself. It's giving rise to a 1 here, possibly a 2 here, a 2 here if this is a mine. But if this is a mine now, then this is not a mine and would be a 1. So that's definitely not a mine. And now how do we get to 4 in these cells? The only way is for that to be a mine, none of these to be a mine. Sorry, this is probably obvious to everybody. And this does work now, providing this isn't a mine. Because now this one sees 1, this one sees 1, this one sees 2, which gives rise to a 4 if this isn't a mine. If this is a mine, this changes to a 3 and you get 5. So that's not a mine. Oh, good. We've actually done something. These are mines because we know we need to generate the correct value, and now hopefully we will have done that, because this sees 2, this sees 2, and that gets us to 10. And the way that works in terms of my earlier sort of conceptualization of this is this gives rise to 1, 1, 1 there. This gives rise to 1, 1, 1 there. This gives rise to 1, 1, 1 there. And this gives rise to 1 there. And that's how that all works. And we do get to 10. And we've got to 4 here. Oh, and we can just surround those with the numbers that are implied by what we've done. Now that sees 1. This sees 1. That sees 1. Yeah, so this number's become a 3 now. And then something over here, which is clearly going to be possible, will be this clue. Wow. But But so I know those 3 cells are green. But they don't have to add up to 4. But hang on now, I'm getting confused as to this row, how that works. Because I've got nothing here. So if this was a mine, I'd have a clue here. Or actually, one of those is a clue. One of those is definitely a mine at least. So this has definitely got a number in it. So that's going to correspond to this. And then I'm going to have a 3. And this might not be a mine. But I need to generate it's okay. How do I generate 4 though? How do I generate 4? This can't... Is it the same again? This can't be a 4. I'm not sure. Because it's different up here. I've got 2 mines to play with up here. But if that was the 4, if that corresponds to this 4, I wouldn't create the 2 question mark clues. There's not enough space. There's no mines to come. So this isn't the 4. So the 4 has to be... So this isn't the 4. So even if that was the gap, the 4 is in there. How do you create 4 in there without using mines? You've got to have mines. What I mean by you've got to have mines is... in the final 3 columns, I've got 2 mines to use, and I know they're going to be relatively close to one another in order to generate the 4s, because they're either going to have to sit next to the perimeter or to be in that world where one of them is close, one of them is in the column, and then one of them is quite close to that one in column 8. So imagine that there were no mines in these cells. How would you create a 4 value that isn't part of this 3 value? You couldn't do it. There's no way. You need mines to create values such as 4, which means all of these are not mines. None of that is mine. None of this is mine. And it's still not completely obvious to me. When I say completely obvious, I mean obvious at all. Oh, well, hang on. No, this is good. This is good. Because we worked out earlier we couldn't use this configuration to create the 4 here because it wouldn't work creating the 4 horizontally. So that means this is the mine, which means these are not mines. Now, if this wasn't a mine, we wouldn't have enough clues in the row because you'd have something here, and then if this isn't a mine, this would be a mine, so these would contain numbers, this would be a mine, all of those would contain numbers, and there wouldn't be 3 clues, so this is definitely a mine. I think this has to be a mine, because we now know there's a contiguous string there, there's 1 here, so there needs to be a mine here to have 3 clues in the row. And now this clue gives rise to a 1 in each of those cells. So we need 1 more, which is this. So this is definitely not a mine, or that gets too big. This is definitely not a mine, or it contributes there. So that's out. This is in. And this is out, because otherwise that would contribute there and take it above 4, because we're at a count of 4 already. 1, 2, 3 from this, because each of this gives rise to a 1 here, a 1 here, and a 1 here. This one gives rise to a 1 here. So we're at the correct count. So let's fill in the numbers. So that's the world we're in. Now, So how do we do this bit? So, oh, that's going to be that's going to be the middle row. What a bizarre puzzle. Okay. So I need 3 different clues here. So these are all effectively zeros. Tempted to write it in, actually. Then they don't see anything. It's impossible for them to see anything. So if this... No, this is not a mine. Because if it's a mine, all 3 of those would pick up a value of 1 or higher. And we wouldn't have 3 clues. So that can't be a mine. I'm actually not sure this is going to work, though, because that means that's a mine. And oh, yes, no, that cell is beautiful, because that sees nothing. There's no mine around it, so it's effectively a 0, and that provides the gap. Isn't that gorgeous? So this is a 1. This is a 1. That's a 2. That's a 2. That's a 1. Most things are zeros, I think. That's a 2. That's a 2. 1, 1. Actually, it would be very easy to make an error here, you know. Well, it would for me. These are all 1s. This is a 0. That's a 0. All of these are zeros. I can do those ones. That's a 2. That's a 1. That's a 2, 2, 1, 1, 0, 0. And the mines were, what do we have to write into the mines? 9s. Let's make those 9s. And let's just take a stare at this and consider whether it could be correct. I have got 10 there. That seems to have just happened. I got 10 there. I checked that one. In this row, I've got a 2, a 3, and 4, which is perfect. In this column, oh, look at that, 4 1s in a row. But it's correct. In terms of the actual clue, it's correct. This column has 2 1s in it. That fulfills that. This column, 1, 1. Then effectively a 2 would be this clue. I think it works. I think it works. Yes, it's correct. I think that's fantastic. What a weird puzzle. I'm very interested. That's super interesting. I think that's the beginner puzzle. Oh my goodness. I mean, I didn't think that was terribly easy, actually. Because you have to think about, or at least I found it very hard to realise that actually the mines themselves are almost not what's important. It's the adjacent positions to the mines that you have to think about, and then think about how the mine contributes value to those adjacencies. And that was far from intuitive, but it's a very clever puzzle. Really interesting. I'm going to be very interested in the comments on that one, because well, actually it's a while since we've done a logic puzzle on the channel. That is definitely not a Sudoku. But it's nice occasionally to get out of our comfort zones. Let me know in the comments how you got on with the puzzle. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.